Dr. Dodge.
Aloha, Aunty Ruby.
We're gonna listen to your story about Mākua, but how's about starting from when you were born and working up towards coming to Hawaii to champion this cause?
Thank you. Okay. I don't remember too much of when I was born, but that's all right. I was born in the Depression, and I was born in New Jersey. I came to Hawaii when I was in the Army, and I fell in love with the place like so many people do. And after I was in the Army, I came back. In the meantime, I besides going through the Army, I went through college, 4 years of pre-med, and then 4 years of medical school. I went to medical school in Jefferson Medical College in Philadelphia, which was fairly close to my home, and graduated in 1961. That seems awfully long ago, doesn't it? Yes, I'm ancient. Anyway,
how old are you?
I am 83 years old. How old are you?
76.
You're just a kid yet. And you act like it. No, I'm just kidding. I like to act like a kid. But yeah, so I've worked for years as a physician. I interned at St. Francis Hospital, and that was really good because it allowed me to be in Hawaii, and my kids were born here and raised up here. It was really good. I got interested in Mākua actually when I was interning at St. Francis Hospital. A group of the doctors there invited us out for a Christmas party at Mākua Beach. And the first time I saw Mākua, I had a deja vu experience. I felt I had been there before. And so I followed the history of what's been happening in Mākua. As you know, it's been used as a live fire range, and many fires were started by the artillery and bombing that has occurred there. And I used to come out and take pictures of it, and I have quite a few, and I'll be showing some of those. So a group of people started an organization called Mālama Mākua, or Cherish, Take Care.
Start it.
Well, I was part of a group that did. The group includes Sparky and Leandra, Sparky Rodriguez, Leandra Y, Bill Isla, although he was more involved with Hui Mālama o Mākua. And so there's been actually two organizations involved in Mākua from our end anyway. So eventually we got Earth Justice to be our lawyer, as a lawyer for the environment.
Great.
And we sued the Army to stop training until they could put some protections in place for the valley, protect the endangered species, and there's quite a few of those, and as well protect the archaeological cultural sites. And our purpose is to have the Army clean up Mākua and eventually stop training, and then clean up the valley and leave, hopefully.
So how has things progressed as of this 2015 date? More needs to be done.
Yes.
As you are
Yes.
working.
Those kind of goals don't occur overnight, as you well know. But I think we've made progress. For instance, this last fall, September of 2014, we celebrated 10 years of no live fire in Mākua.
Great.
So yes, and that is a big protection, and we hope we have another several decades, or they just never resume fire. So right now they're not doing any live fire. They're talking about restarting. But interestingly enough, the neighborhood boards have recently voted, and both the Waiʻanae and Nanakuli have voted against restarting live fire. So that's a good sign. The
Is
community.
that why they're doing it at Schofield? Or that's a different story?
You know, I'm not sure what's going on in Schofield. But yeah, probably they are doing some. And they're doing other live fire at Pohakaloa on the Big Island, the island of Hawaii. And we're not in favor of that. We don't want to replace Makua with any other place. That's not our purpose.
Yes.
But the Army is calling the shots on that kind of thing. Still, we hope to bring peace both to Makua, Pohakaloa, and the islands, actually.
Were there any discussions in your past dealings with the Army that why can't they, and I'm talking from a no knowledge person, they're practicing in a desert where there is no habitation, or on computer nowadays, can they do practice targeting on computers instead of agriculturally significant site?
There are alternatives, yes. And they do training all over the world,
Okay.
all over the Pacific.
Okay.
They go out and they train. Interestingly enough, the troops that are stationed here and have been stationed here have always been certified as adequately and well trained, interestingly enough, even though Makua has not been available, at least in recent years. So they have options and they can do that, yes. It's a good question. And there are training areas on the continent of the United States where they can go through simulated training, and it's quite effective. So there are options and alternatives, and we like to bring that to their attention. Originally, they said there was no other place we can train besides Makua, but that's changed. They do admit that they could train at Pohakaloa, they can train on these sites on the mainland, and they go all over. They go all over. You know, war is a very dangerous occupation, and it's dangerous not just to people in it, but to the environment. That's why we have endangered species. It's why the cultural archaeological sites are always at risk. As I said, there's been a lot of fires. We took a list of the fires they had over a 10-year period, and there were 272 fires, big and small, in Makua. This is just in Makua. So, yeah, I think...
Were there any native species growing there that were destroyed by the fires?
You know, there have been some that have been destroyed and threatened. There's a beautiful lobelia species, the Hawaiians call it haha, and the scientific name is Cyanea superba, that is no longer in Makua. Fortunately, before the last plant died, they were able to outplant the seeds to other places on the Waiʻanae Range. So that's good. And they had a very good, let me say a hello to the biological department, which has a lot of civilians working for the Army, and they do a wonderful job. Part of that is to outsource these and outplant endangered species. And there are others. I believe at the last count, there were around 40 endangered plant and animal species. There's the tree snail, and there's endangered owl that we don't even see in Makua anymore. Yeah, you're absolutely right. There's a lot of that. I think this is Leandra, our Vice President, Leandra Y. I don't think Sparky's in this picture, but one of our other members, Melva Isla, is here. And anyway, we like it. And at that time,
Scott?
we had Missy, the Mākua mascot, was there. She's passed on. She was even old in 2002.
Uh-huh.
But yes. So, this is, we like this particular gathering. It's about the size, the average size of our accesses. So we'll take anybody. We've had as little as one person on an access up to 100.
Wow.
And yes.
And does Earth Justice help organize the events, or mostly legal work?
Legal work, mostly. We do our own, we have to, part of the agreement with the Army is that we send them the names ahead of time. We send them an itinerary of where we want to go and what we want to do. And then if there's any conflicts, we work it out. But generally, these accesses do go on, and I think they've been very valuable in education of the community. Yeah.
What if you're not approved by the Army?
Then we negotiate. Like
Has
some,
there been some people refused to
you know,
come into Mākua?
we used to wonder, why do you want to know who's going to
Yeah.
go there?
Yeah.
Are you looking for terrorists or what? Somebody who will blow up the place? Because they've been doing a good job of that. But basically, what we found out over the years is that they are, they like to know if any reporters are coming,
Oh.
any people who write for magazines and so on. Videographers are given a scrutiny. And lawyers. And it's not so bad now with our lawyers. They can pretty much come. But originally, when a lawyer was going to come on an access, one of their lawyers would be there and would be like his shadow. So,
Interesting.
yeah. And I must say, speaking of lawyers, you know, the Earth Justice has been wonderful, and especially David Henkin, who is one of the lawyers
Is that him in
there.
the white hat?
No.
And the sunglasses? No?
No, I don't
Oh,
think David
it's not
was
him.
in this one.
Oh, okay.
This, you mean here?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, somebody else.
Yeah, that's another one. I don't know if I have any of David here, but he's been really good. He's done a wonderful job of representing us, and yeah.
What about that ahu there?
This
How
ahu-
was it built, or?
Yes, it was built in 2002, December, at the time of our first access, and it was expanded. There was a fire in 2003, and there's been other fires since too, also. But it needed to be expanded after that, because we had so many people coming to give ho'okupu in response to that fire, which burned over 2,000 acres. So, yeah, there's things that happened, yeah. Well, that one is a famous picture, and I'm going to put it over here. And now some of the munitions that have been used in Mākua, include a 1,000-pound bomb. This is a picture of it going off.
Okay, they fired it, or they exploded it because they found it?
The latter. Yes.
Oh, okay.
During one of the fires,
Oh, okay.
the bomb appeared there, and they did have to explode it in place. And so we were not allowed in the valley at the explosion. It was a monstrous explosion. And so one of our friends had a boat, and we went out on the boat and took some of these pictures.
Wow, okay.
And you know, the shock of that explosion, I mean, I remember it.
How did you know? They announced they were gonna explode the bomb,
Yes.
and so he went out prior to that?
Yes, prior to that, we went out there. We're not allowed in the valley.
Right.
We went out there, so, for whatever reason.
Terrific.
Yeah. This is the Pohaku Ki'i, the stone with writing on it. So petroglyph, all right? This is a petroglyph at Mākua, and also some other petroglyphs found in Mākua. There's quite a few. It's quite an interesting and a wonderful. It's a wonderful archaeological site, actually. So yes.
That proves people lived there.
Yes.
And conducted life.
Yes. Yes.
Living, raising food of their own.
Yeah. One of the things that the Army has found in Mākua, there's an area there that unfortunately they have already bulldozed, but basically what they found after bulldozing is these rings, maybe 2.5, 3.5 feet wide, and there were rings from emus that were there. And it's about mid-valley. And so they've discovered, I believe it was about 13 of these emus. And it shows you that they were, well, let me backtrack. They were carbon dated because the emus, they heated these rocks, and then they had wood, and the wood leaves ashes, and the ashes are able to be carbon dated. So they found that those emus ranged from 1290 to 1350. So over 800 years ago, 900 now, there were quite a few of your ancestors, Hawaiians, living there, enough to have all these emus, that they used to have these feasts, and it was quite something, so, yeah.
So there was this church in there that was bombed?
Yes. Mākua.
There's no historical
yes.
record of who went to church there, or
there
where this?
There are records.
There are.
There are records. There are old photographs.
Oh.
I don't have any with me, but there are old photographs of the congregation, and yeah, it's a congregational church.
Was it? Boy, what is the name? Naivi?
Yes.
Part of his ohana there.
Yes. Yes.
They built the church or went to. I don't.
Ivanhoe Naivi. Did you ever know Ivanhoe?
No, I know
he was a
Lincoln.
wonderful. You knew Lincoln, okay. He was a wonderful. Well, they were both very wonderful people, but Ivanhoe, I loved Ivanhoe, and he left us too soon, so he passed on. But he was born in Mākua, and he was a really wonderful supporter of Mālama Mākua while he was alive.
Are they trying to reclaim some property up there, or is that another group, perhaps a Glenn Keeler's group?
I don't know of anybody who's actually reclaiming property. As you know, the Army took all the property and they took control of the valley and so on, and they kicked most of the people that were in there farming out. But it was World War II or earlier, and I know that people didn't want to leave, but it was a patriotic thing to do, would be to allow the Army to train there, and so they did. Good questions, Rudy. Rudy, good questions. These are just pictures. One of our members, Lynette Cruz, you may know
Yes,
Lynette.
I know.
You know Lynette. She put this together. It was really good. I supplied the photographs. But there, again, this is one of the petroglyphs. It's a beautiful dog. This is a site area, not a heiau, but at least it's a group of pohaku that was put there. This is near what they call the OBOD site. The OBOD site is an open burn, open detonation site where they destroyed munitions, outdated or otherwise defective. So it's amazing the colors.
That's
Anyway.
beautiful,
Yeah, and then it does, although it's dry in Mākua, generally speaking, it does rain. Here's a rainbow, here's a rain, here's water flowing. So we like to document that, yes, this is a view of...
Is it flowing during rainy seasons only, or all year round?
As far as I know, I've never seen all year round yet.
Oh.
So it is seasonal,
Mm.
and the streams there are intermittent. But yes,
Because I saw this video, The Rain Follows the Forest,
yes,
by Jason Scott Lee. I
yes.
just recently saw it, and I
And it
didn't
does.
realize it, that if there's no trees,
Right.
there's
So-
no water well, or...
One of our goals is to reforest.
Yes.
Yes, so it will bring back more forest and will bring back more rain and so on. So yes, indeed. This is another access. This is a view of the front of the valley. Kaena Point is over here.
I've been only once to Mākua myself,
well,
but
it's-
it was an experience.
Yeah,
to
you know,
be there.
not many people have been allowed to go to Mākua,
Right, right.
especially in recent times. So these are available, and what have we got
else
here?
on the show? Since the girls are not here.
I will be my own person on this.
Sure.
Thanks. And so this
Let's see.
is a picture of a fire at night. Is it showing pretty well, or do you want me to?
Yes, okay.
Okay. This is a fire at night. I happened to be camping out at Mākua. And what's interesting is at that time, the Army doesn't fight the fires at night, not in recent times. But at that time, the helicopter would come, you can see the red dots,
Uh-huh.
and then drop a bucket of water and on the fire, and that was happening that night. But you can see all the fire damage also. Yeah. So we've been following the destruction of Mākua. Now I mentioned the open burn, open detonation site. How are we doing? Okay. And this is in the middle of the valley. It's I took this picture not knowing what it was when I used to hike the ridges around Mākua. And so this was the South Firebreak Road. This is where they did the open burn, open detonation over here.
Can you explain a little bit about fire breaks?
Yes.
The open...
Open burn, open detonation, and fire breaks. Well, if you're going to have live fire training, you need to have fire breaks, because otherwise the valley will burn a lot more. And you have to be able to get to those fires to put them out and so on. So yeah, there's a north fire break, south fire break. The open burn, open detonation area has been closed. Back in 2002, the Army said they would do an investigation of the open burn, open detonation site, OBOD, and they did produce one study by a company run by Halliburton, and even my friends in the Army tell me they admit that it wasn't a very good study, but it did show that there was quite a bit of contamination at that time, early time. And the Army, instead of completing the study, decided to close that site. And they did. They closed the open burn, open detonation site. Now this site actually is a 4-acre area surrounded by a 14-acre buffer zone. So altogether, that site was 18 acres. And they have closed it. It's pretty much overgrown. And yes, there's a lot of interesting history about Mākua. So we've been collecting these these pictures. This was the big fire that occurred in I believe about 2005. This is the 2,000-acre fire. You can see how much damage it's done in the lower pictures. Demonstrations that the community were part of. Because that fire did a lot of damage. Okay. This is some water in the valley, because it does rain. Here is the upper reaches burning. You had asked more about some of the damage done. And in the upper reaches there is an area of to protect the land for wildlife, especially I'll go over here. Especially the Oʻahuʻs has
Membership?
well, we've had people that come that do join us and then come through for the accesses, but the Mālama Mākua membership is a board. It's a board organization, basically.
I see.
Our larger membership is Hui Mālama o Mākua,
I see.
of community members. You know, I was mentioning the emu rings.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
Here's a picture of one.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
Okay. These are some people that have come with us with projects in the valley and also to help protect the emu rings, which we did there. There was
Some planting?
yes,
Yeah.
there were some plantings, willy trees that we were planting,
Oh,
and we have planted, and also some accesses here. There's a group coming down the valley, again, Kaena Point, and this is, again, we have a center for reforestation as well as fire control. This is what some of the things we want to do. We like to monitor the native and endangered species. We've had a vision of something like a University of Mākua and a place of learning that encourages a spiritual, physical, mental, and emotional connection with the Aina.
And when do they meet?
This is part of our Mālama Mākua goals. Whenever we meet, we go there. So again, there is what we call a well in here that we had a ho'okupu of a kalo plant that we put in there, and it liked it. So it thrived, and it's been harvested already. After another fire, a fire I believe in 2005, we were part of a group that did helped the Army do a cleanup. We opened up positions and trained people. Well, we didn't, but we had the Army do that to train people to how to gather all this opala. Three of our members, I think Leander was one. I knew who all the three were, but it escapes me right now.
So they're doing what there? Can't tell.
You know, they were coming down from the valley. They had done an access into that area, and it was a nice picture.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, over the years, there's been a lot of good stuff that's happening over there.
Mākua, but
You know, I happen to, Dr. Emmett Aluli and others in the Ohana have been not just good friends, but have been very helpful to us. And Mālama Mākua owes a lot to them.
Good.
as people who have fought the battle ahead of us and have been very successful. Very successful. So, yeah, we have a lot of aloha for the Protect Kohoʻolawe Ohana, and now for the people who run what has evolved from that.
Mhm.
So, yeah, Mike does a terrific job. Yes, yes. And members of Kahoʻolawe Ohana have been helping us. They helped us with the day we had celebrating the 10 years of no live fire, and that was really good. The other group that stopped by was the Hokulea. The Hokulea stopped at Mākua last year, I think in the early summer, and we were able to take them on a tour of Mākua and also get on board the Hokulea and so on, and it was very good. So we've had good relationship with the Polynesian Voyaging Society, and of course we wish them well on their worldwide trip. But yes, we're all sort of interconnected. Yes.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, any future plans that we can publicize on? I remembered you said you take this exhibit to the libraries, or Waiʻanae Library anyway. When is the next one planned for?
We don't have any plans as yet, but we have in the past. Yes, we've gone to the Kapolei Library. We've gone to Kapolei City Hall. We've gone to our library here, as you mentioned, and we'll see when we get the call, or if somebody's interested in having us exhibit. We'll do that. We hope to have. We had such a good day of remembrance and celebration of 10 years of no live fire that we hope to repeat again this fall. We'll probably call it, well, we will call it something different, but we'd like to do it. And we'll see how it goes. Yeah.
What plans for reforestation or replanting of
You know,
food or?
Yeah, we've asked the Army if we could work with them for that, but they seem to be very reluctant to do that.
Because they
Well,
need the whole place? Or, I don't understand.
how can I say? I guess we're not the most popular of people with the Army. You know, we did get them not to do live fire now for 10 years, and we hope to have it continued. We'll see.
Or if they started digging too low to plant, there might be some.
They have a lot of rules, yes.
Yeah.
There are a lot of precautions. You have to be careful when you dig under the surface, and we're restricted a great deal, yes. But we would eventually like to get in there and do some active reforestation. We have planted willy trees. You just saw some pictures of that.
Yeah.
And we would like to do more, very definitely. But, you know, the Army controls the valley, basically. We just can't go in and start digging and planting and so on. We have to work with them, and we try. We do have a good relationship with their group of biologists who take care of endangered species, and I think we have a good relationship with the archaeologists who help take care of the sites, the cultural sites.
Anything else you want to share?
Well,
What's coming up, maybe?
We have accesses approximately twice a month, and then we have a makahiki that we celebrate, usually in November, and the opening did take place in November, and now we're going to have a makahiki closing in February, actually February 21 and 20th and 21st.
It's coming up.
So it's
then.
coming up.
Yes.
I mean, this is what's today, the 5th.
Mhm.
So we're on the verge, right? We're on the verge, and if anybody wants to take part in it, usually the Saturday, that would be the 21st, is open to the public to also help with leaving Ho'okupu and so on, and that will be announced either in the West Side Story or we will be announcing it. So there are these events that take place. Another one that's been going on for years is we call it Mākua Sunrise. It's on Easter Sunday morning. We don't call it a sunrise service, it's a Mākua sunrise. So it celebrates Mākua. But that'll be
a lot of turnout for that?
You know, I think
Since
we've had a pretty good turnout, and we mentioned my son Vince Kanaidaj, who is in charge of that event, and he writes to the Army saying, can we do it again? And they've always allowed it. So thank goodness they're cooperative that way.
Do you have some pictures of the past sunrise?
I
services?
do. I didn't bring them. Sorry about
Well,
that.
I know there's a chant. They are like.
Yes.
Do they do that?
We have in the past. We celebrate and help the sun to come up.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So can you explain a little bit to those who are not familiar with makahiki and the importance of the closing of makahiki?
Okay. Well, makahiki is the season to celebrate the bounties of the land, the harvests, and there are games that are played, ho'okupu that's left, and we have 3 ahus in Mākua. You saw one of them.
There behind.
Yes, and yes, it's one of them. And then we have an ahu for each valley, one for Koiahi and one for Kahana Haiki, as well as the main one for Mākua. So those 3 have a ceremony that they're all ho'okupu are left for all 3. So, but for the main Mākua one, that is open to the public. We usually ask people to be there about 10 a.m. on Saturday. This year it'll be the 21st of February. And so thank you very much. I don't know when they're going to present this.
Yeah, hopefully right away.
Hopefully.
To get those pictures.
But if it isn't, remember it for next year.
Yeah.
And thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you very much for...
Any other last words or to the future appeal
well,
who are behind the camera?
yes, and thank you very much.
Kalia and
Thank you, Kalia. Maka, thank you very much. We appreciate you doing this. And by all means, get a hold of me and we'll get you on the next access into Mākua. And
so can you give your numbers? To
Yes.
Instruct them what to do?
you can call me at 696-4677. That's 696-4677.
A week before?
Usually we publish the dates we're going to go in the West Side Story. So if you read the West Side Story, you can find it. And yes, let us know a good week ahead of time. Actually, Wednesday before the access is the deadline. We have to get your names in. It's part of the agreement with the Army. But yes. And
Then you let them know it's okay, they're approved, or you just come?
if we get your names in by Wednesday, it's rare to not have it approved. It's very rare. Mainly, accesses have to be confirmed between Mālama Mākua and the Army, and it's rare that they're not. Sometimes there's a conflict. But since there hasn't been training, and conflicts are much less so.
Were there any other pictures behind that?
I think we've got most of them. Yeah, I think
Those 2 behind the cardboard?
we hit just about everything. Thanks. Yeah, you get these.
It seems like there's two behind that.
Oh, here, I think we got, this was the open burn, open
Oh, yeah,
donation
got that.
sign. We've got that one.
Yeah, this one that she's bringing.
I think that one was the burn, and I did show that.
I see.
We're finished with this. I think we've got pretty
Okay.
much the pictures that we were gonna show on this,
Okay, then.
on this one.
Mhm.
So, thanks again. Thanks for doing what you're doing, Auntie Ruby.
welcome.
You're a great producer of these ʻŌlelo videos, and we appreciate
Well, I
having,
know there's a story to every person.
you
And
know,
a story behind the reason for people doing what they do, so.
yeah. But we appreciate
Curious
you doing.
about that.
Yeah. Well, thanks a lot. You do a great job.
Reveals
And
a
thanks
good story.
to the OPO.
Yes,
Really
they're
appreciate it.
training in ʻŌlelo, and they're gonna be future producers
Wonderful.
to tell Hawaii stories. So mahalo, appreciate it.
You're welcome. And mahalo to you guys. Thanks again.